youngsters were flicking at video games on their bleeping Nintendos and consoles, while their adult appendages ferreted for more space. Eventually, Monsieur the Inspector was brought into play. He was a short, stout man with a black, pencil-thin moustache and an iPad clutched between his podgy fingers. Susan's voucher was studied in deadly earnest once more, checked and then checked again on his tablet. After reflection from the chief, Susan was requested to gather up her few possessions and follow the uniformed gentleman out of the carriage. The family was triumphant. Susan obeyed with a quiet sigh, fully expecting to be delayed and rebooked onto a later train. Were her plans to be scuppered even before she'd left the starting gate? She was led along the quay, but not as she'd expected to the exit. Instead, further along the platform to one of the first-class coaches. Voila, your new seat. The small man lifted off his cap with a gleeful flourish and grinned at the green-eyed lady standing before him. Merci beaucoup, Susan replied with surprise. You are most welcome, chère madame. Belle madame. I hope you will be comfortable in this compartment. A voice over a loudspeaker announced that the train was finally ready for its departure. It seemed that Susan had been allocated a table for 4 all to herself. The inspector bowed hastily and set off at a trot, calling as he went, "Bon voyage, madame." Nothing delighted him more than offering a helping hand to a beautiful woman, and what a beauty this one was, if a little on the skinny side. Just at the moment when the doors were sliding to a close, 3 men squeezed themselves aboard, each with a briefcase and minimal amounts of hand luggage. They identified their places alongside the recently installed young woman and settled in. The one with the seat to the left of Susan was wearing an elegant raincoat, even though it was not raining. This he took off, folding it carefully into the overhead luggage rack, before dropping a copy of Le Figaro on the table in front of him, and acknowledging Susan's presence with a nod. "Bonjour," he smiled. The train shuddered, inched out of the station, and then set off at a gentle roll. The men, each stylishly if casually attired, began to spread themselves out, sliding smartphones and leather-clad tablets from their tailored jacket pockets. Susan's Kindle was on the table in front of her. A hostess arrived with a trolley offering complimentary drinks, apéritif. The men shook their heads. One of the 2 across from her, the plumper of the pair, turned in her direction. "What about our rather beautiful young companion? Do you care for some refreshment, madame? You have the eyes of a Persian cat," he remarked. Susan, nonplussed, requested water and a quarter bottle of white wine. Her neighbour, whose name was Gustave, she overheard later, he who had been engrossed in paging through his newspaper, changed his mind and accepted a small bottle of Evian. "I prefer not to see a lady drinking alone. Santé." Gustave poured and raised his glass to Susan's with a glint in his eye. He was sandy-haired, sporty, with long, rangy limbs. Arresting, she thought. Her late mother might have described him as dashing. The 2 men opposite were now pressed up close to one another, shoulders and arms brushing, in an intriguingly conspiratorial manner, which rather drew Susan's attention. Charles, seated diagonally across from Susan's place, to her eye resembled a 40-something Jeremy Irons, and was also rather dashing. He opened up his iPad and began to show his neighbour, the one who had offered her the refreshment, a series of photographs which raised expressions of surprise, of fascination. The man, who answered to the name of Jean-Christophe, was almost salivating. "Mon Dieu, qu'est-ce que c'est magnifique!" Susan attempted to concentrate on her reading, while also throwing sneaky glances to the window to see whether she could catch a glimpse of their screen images in the glass's reflection. Alas, the angle of the device made it impossible for her to see anything they were sharing. Whatever it was, the 2 men were engrossed. Snacks were served. She shook her head politely. The others brushed the cold collations.